We're on.
We're
live.
Yeah.
So podcast. We've why are we starting a podcast?
To be fair, like I said, I've always wanted to do it. Just been something that you see everyone do. You wonder why or how they're doing it.
Yeah.
And then you just think, fuck it.
Plus,
Do it.
podcasts are just popping off at the minute.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if I'm going for a run or I'm training by myself or something, I'm listening to a podcast rather than music now.
But when are you actually listening to a podcast? Because I think each person like does it differently. Because I struggled to listen to a podcast whilst exercising because it doesn't.
Yeah, that's true.
Doesn't perk me up. But
Yeah.
I like listening to it to like chill before or whilst I'm in bed, and then I usually just put the timer on the podcast and then just fall asleep.
Yeah. See, so if I'm going for a run and I'm listening to like headphones, I'll put on a podcast and just zone out, but zone out of everything else and just focus on what I'm listening to.
Wow.
Or if I'm driving, I'm listening to a podcast. But if I'm just sat at home, unless I'm watching YouTube and I'm watching like Diary of a CEO or something like that, I wouldn't listen to a podcast. I'd probably watch it now and again.
Yeah.
Or if I'm training or driving, I'm listening to it while doing something else.
I to be fair, whilst I'm like doing work, I'll put a podcast video on YouTube on the side and like, you know, visually go in and out of looking at it. But I'm always listening to it because I feel like I'm more visual.
Yeah, so you're listening to it, but I
can see it.
Yeah. And see, a lot of people struggle with that, I think.
Yeah, I like putting on the telly and just, you know, going on the YouTube and just putting it on there.
Yeah.
And
it's weird though that podcasts are so popular now because
they got like a bad rep years ago.
Yeah, I remember when it first, like really when they first came about, and you got the podcast app.
Yeah,
on the iPhone. The purple app.
Yeah.
And like, I just never clicked on that. And I saw some stuff that was like trending. And I remember at the time it was like Top Gear or something, like a Top Gear podcast or something like that. And I remember thinking like, nah, this is not going to catch on. And I was watching YouTube and I was on social media, but I remember thinking like podcasts, like no one wants to listen to someone speak.
Well, it used to go from like, do you remember the old YouTubers that would like, you know, record themselves playing games and then have these type microphones underneath them?
Yeah.
And everyone used to be like, what are they like, those mics? And then it slowly come to that. People now like record videos on YouTube using these mics.
Yeah.
And it's progressed to like more of a, not like a studio, but like something like this. And
yeah,
I don't know, it's weirdly grown.
Yeah, it has.
And that was probably part of why I wanted to like do it.
And I think when you, like we've had that conversation before when you're just talking and you're like, if only people could hear this.
Yeah.
Because it's not that like, we don't know anything more than anyone else. Like we're just figuring out things ourselves. But if people could listen to us figuring out life or figuring out business, like it would benefit other people, I think. And that's the beauty of a podcast is you're just listening to, well, I say normal people. Like there are podcasts about where they're not really celebs, but then you do have the big podcasts where, you know, you're tuning into Diary of a CEO or, you know, Joe Rogan or something like that.
But I also think because, I mean, what I've noticed anyway, because people of our age, well, especially me and like people I know, some of them that like, I don't watch normal telly anymore. So like the whole world has moved from like terrestrial television to like Netflix and like the YouTube app on telly. So a lot of people watch, like my sister watches series of like Molly May behind the scenes. And it's like, you know, it's like normal content that people can get behind. It's not acted. It's just,
well, that's the beauty of YouTube. Like anyone can make a video now and post it and people love just watching normal people. I mean, Molly May is obviously like an influencer famous, but she's just like a normal, she's not like an actress or a singer or, you know, a really famous person, but she's become famous from reality TV. And then you just watch her life.
Yeah.
Like you just watch her do stuff like walk the dog or go to a cafe.
And you would think when you first like watch it, it's not actually that interesting, but then you actually relate to it and get into it, and you think like, shit, I'm just watching someone like make cakes and
do you know,
and just go out for a coffee, and like wander through the, the streets of wherever.
There was a lad I went to school with. I won't say his name or anything, but I went to college with him, and he started vlogging. Like, and he was literally working at like Staples or something, like the
old
outlet thing.
Yeah.
And he started vlogging, and I started watching it because he posted it on Facebook, and I was like dead into it. But he was literally just like making his breakfast, going to, like, and I was like, it was interesting just seeing someone do normal stuff, like not too out there, or like they've got an amazing lifestyle, just normal people doing normal things. Like, it's basically why TikTok's like the viral app.
Yeah, because people love that like natural content.
Yeah.
I remember like, do you know like KSI and stuff and all the time?
Yeah.
Like they're like my age. I remember watching them when they first put like crappy videos on YouTube, and then watching like opening like FIFA packs.
Yeah.
And like, oh, that's just like
doing normal stuff. Yeah.
And then they all got friends and all that lot, and then it's just turned into something that's the thing like about the podcast. It's like I don't want to like miss the boat. In terms of like being famous, I'm not asked about that.
Yeah.
But in terms of like, I give this a go whilst it's quite new.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like all my life I've gone, oh, that's a good idea. Oh, I could
I
upload on
could
YouTube.
do that.
I used to play like Call of Duty or FIFA.
Yeah.
I could just upload a video, and you never do.
You never do.
And then now I'm just like,
I saw today. I saw a picture on Instagram that someone posted, and it was a quote, and it said, "I could do that," like in quotations, and then by the people who never did that. Do you know what I mean? So it's like the exact thing you're saying. You thought I could do that, but you didn't do it until now. When you messaged me, you was like, should we just do a podcast? I was like, yes.
Yeah.
Because I would probably not have done it myself.
No, this was one thing it's not that I maybe couldn't have done it myself. I would have just found it's a lot harder like talking to a camera to yourself about something that you like, who you asking questions, like who you bouncing stuff off, like, everyone's opinion, unless you did like a live stream and everyone could like maybe comment.
Yeah.
When you first start, no one's going
to be... You've got your mum saying like...
Yeah, what's for tea? And you're like, cheers, mum. Or your mate's just like giving you shit, like, for doing something. So it's not funny.
Yeah.
So doing it with someone or like a group or like the,
100%.
is so much better.
It's nice doing something as well that takes a little bit of effort, like creativity. Like, I'm looking at our setup, and like you've set up like the sound, the cameras, like it's a full on like mini production already.
Yeah. Full on basic bitch setup.
You've got the mics, you've got we've got our laptops with like stuff on it, and it's just like, it's all set up ready, but it's like the first step. So who knows, if you're doing this, maybe you're doing a podcast, right? If we're going to do a weekly podcast in a year's time, we might still be sat in here, but we might have like some people that tune in every week, to watch.
But the kind of the beauty of this is you could basically just do it out of your garage. You just need
you could,
enough room. You need like 3 or 4 foot for the camera back, like in front of you, enough space to sit down. You could just have like a table, and just do it. Like,
exactly.
I think this is what we've kind of spoke about in terms of you wanted it to be as basic as possible. There's no need for 40 cameras and a massive production team.
Yeah, you don't need like a nice
in a way
studio space.
We could like basically we could film this today, and if this podcast gets a bit bigger and stuff like that, and then you could just send all that content straight to a video editor.
Yeah,
and it's just done. You only need 3 of you.
Yeah,
really.
Exactly.
And then maybe get someone to post it all on social media. You don't need a lot.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it, and it's the stuff you're talking about as well. That like we enjoy just talking about the stuff we're about to talk about anyway. Like we enjoy talking about like business, fitness, whatever it is, just general life stuff.
I mean, we talk in the gym, and like we'll talk to each other, or like you'll talk to someone else, and you just think like you said at the start, like loads of people would want to hear this. Do you know when you have like, when you like would say something funny to each other, but you could never repeat it the same way you first said it, because that person's like, oh, you were never there. But like now, this person could see it like raw, and then relive that every single time. It's basically like we all need like little drones that follow us
Yeah.
all day and like
If only,
capture
mate.
stuff.
Some of the
Well,
stuff,
yeah.
like you know, especially for some of the good convos as well, like that you're talking about with people. Like when I go to get my haircut at the barber's, me and my barber, we have like a full on life discussion. And I was thinking the other day, like, imagine if you just the barbershop like filmed the convos that you'd have.
I've actually started seeing some of that content online where they do like I think one guy called it like Barbercast or something.
Yeah, something like that.
So he puts a camera up like facing you whilst you're looking at the mirror and stuff, and he just chats to you.
Yeah.
Puts like a mic on you. There's a guy that I see who's a barber who's got like Tourette's. You
No
seen
way,
him?
really, no.
Yeah, so he's a barber who's got Tourette's. So obviously
Jeez.
his tics to like swear and do everything else.
They've not got the ticks with when they shoot their arm
No,
out.
no,
though,
no.
'cause,
So he does that with his
You go
neck.
in for just a
No.
trim, you get a full on.
No. So he does like this with his neck when he's trying to control it, and he just, he's calling people whatever.
Yeah.
And that's just entertaining.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah.
a young lad getting his hair cut, trying not to laugh at a barber.
That's cool as well because he's made something good of his like disorder or whatever it's called,
And I think that's, that goes for any disorder, disability or anything that you've
Yeah.
got. It's just,
like
embrace it.
yeah, like
And
seeing it as a blessing or seeing it as like it's something you can use or
But I also think with that, I mean, I've done loads of like work with disabled adults and kids and stuff, and like their lives are on another level in terms of ours as just being able-bodied. They don't worry about things. They just enjoy it for what they are. Half of them are like, maybe lucky to be here, and they just live life every day, like to the full, to the max, do what they want. And I think like sometimes with like able-bodied people, we take, walking.
Yeah, we do.
With
The
two legs
simple
for
things in
advantage.
life that are amazing.
And to them, they will never dream. I mean, I used to work with kids and adults that had like cerebral palsy and stuff. So they've started off more able-bodied when they're first born, and then they progressively get worse as they get older.
That's
I mean,
so
that is
sad.
just, to just know you're going to get worse.
Yeah, that's so sad.
And we just go through each day, people don't want to run. People don't want to even walk the dog. And I think like some people will never be able to do this.
People don't appreciate like those simple things until they can't do it.
Yeah.
Like until you get ill, like you don't appreciate your health, you don't make the most of it. And we moan about the simplest of things, like you wake up on a Monday morning, I don't want to go to work. Like so many people.
That's a classic one, isn't it?
Yeah, so many people are living that, or like the traffic's so bad, but like you're in a nice car, you're on the way to a nice job,
You can drive.
You've
You've got 2 arms.
exactly.
But then, I mean, there's loads of people I watch. There's a Call of Duty guy who plays Call of Duty like through his mouth. He's got like a set
What?
piece. So he like
Stephen Hawking's type thing.
yeah, it's like
can control it.
He like has a straw in his mouth and he uses like 2 little like dials of his chin and
No
like
way.
tweaks his neck.
Is he
to, like-
good?
oh, he's unreal.
Really?
Like he'd be better than me and you. Like
No
honestly,
way.
I'd have to find his name, but
Oh,
like it's ridiculous. And he still likes playing video games and he'll do
Yeah.
it regardless. And then
that's
other
so
people
cool
just-
that like obviously I couldn't even imagine what it's like to be disabled in any way, whether it's like physically or mentally or whatever, but just to carry on and like do something, like to play a game with like your mouth, and be
Good
like
at
a
it.
pro at it
Yeah,
or
yeah.
something.
But he would have started like not being able to do any of
Mm.
that. And it's like perseverance and sticking at it.
Yeah.
And I think most people that have been able-bodied all their life and all of a sudden just can't do things, you'd get like depressed. You wouldn't want to do anything.
Yeah.
Feel sorry for yourself. And it's about like just getting back into it. Like
Yeah.
stop feeling sorry for yourself because it's never going to, I think the way I look at it is like, I mean, even with like training, like some of the workouts we do and stuff, like you'll get to a point and it'll hurt.
Mm.
And then in my head, I go, it's never going to hurt more than this.
Yeah.
Like, This
So
is the
true.
worst it's going to get. It's burning,
Yeah.
you're sore, but you've done 20 minutes, there's only 20 minutes left. Like, suck it up basically.
Yeah.
Because there's people that can never do
I
this.
listened to a really good podcast, or it was like an information video on YouTube, and it was basically saying that often our greatest achievements are the hardest things we've ever been through. And I was thinking like my greatest achievements are running a marathon. I climbed this volcano, and at the time, both of those were awful, horrible, hated it. But then when you look back on it, you're like, that was the best thing I've ever done. And I guess it's like, often if you're like, maybe been in an accident, or you've got like some form of disability, or something bad's happened to you, often you might look at that as like, I'm going to make that the best thing that's ever happened to me. Like, I'm going to make that a blessing, or I'm going to make that my drive to like go and do something amazing and to not give up, It's interesting.
I mean, it definitely spurs you on. Like, I think it does for me anyway. Just got to give you motivation to do things. And, I try and do as much as I can whenever I can, because you never know. I'm like a big, like believer in time. I hate wasting time. And if I do, it drives me mad. It's not like I don't plan my days out all the time, but in terms of like...
You don't like just doing nothing.
Because it's the classic, we could do this today, and then I could walk out of there and get by a bus. And it's all over.
I always think that.
Have I been hit by a bus and loved what I've done before all that?
Then it's sound.
I'm not lying on the floor like completely happy thinking, oh, thank you for hitting me by the bus. But
I know what you mean. You've made the most of it.
Yeah.
I always think, well, I don't always think, but sometimes I think, imagine if I've got an illness now and I don't know about it. And like, it scares me a bit, but then it makes you think like, anything could happen. Like, you could walk outside and get hit by a bus. You could have an illness, you don't know about it, but it's not going to stop you from, like, even if you did, it shouldn't stop you from doing anything. And if anything, that aspect of life where it's just so uncertain, like you could die tomorrow, should make you do everything today. Like, make the most of it. Do the podcast, go to the gym, go on the holiday, but then you can go down the other route and you could be like, right, I'm just going to get like
wasted.
Pissed.
Yeah.
I'm going to eat all the kebabs.
But then I just think, like, however old you are and that, like, if you have got like we've all got a clock.
We have.
We're, us as humans, as depressing as it sounds, we're all born to die.
Have you ever seen that picture? And it's like your life in weeks, and it's each week is a little dot.
I've seen it in like seconds, or like a timer of like ticking down.
So even if you live till like, let's say you live to 100 and you're doing amazing, seeing it in weeks is like, on the same page is nothing. It basically makes you think like, God, and sometimes I'd be like, can't wait for Saturday, can't wait for Sunday. It's Tuesday and you're like, I can't wait for Friday.
But then if it's Tuesday and you can't wait for Friday, what a waste of 3 days.
Yeah, but do you know how many people, like, and I've done it before, like, so many people live their whole life like that, and then you get to Monday again and you do the same thing again.
Because why can't you go out for a drink and get pissed on a Tuesday? Why do you do it on a Friday? Because you can.
Yeah,
like, you just feel rough at work.
You can, because you can do anything you want.
Because
it's your life.
You might get shit off your boss. You might feel rough all day on your 9 to 5. But you don't have to wait 5 days.
Yeah. Or people like, I was talking to one of my mates and he was like, I'm going to switch up my training and I want to come to start CrossFit or like functional training. Yeah. And I was like, oh yeah, like when are you coming down? He was like, after Christmas. So he was like, I was like, why, what about now? And he was like, well, just, and it's like people want to say like, I'll do it, but not yet.
But they want to get rid, like, they in their head they've got, well, I've got like 5 or 6 days over Christmas where I get really pissed and eat what I want.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'll get rid of them days first.
Yeah.
And then in the new year, I'll start. But the problem is that you eat shit for like 5 or 6 days around Christmas, and then you feel even more sluggish. And then by the time you get to it in January, you're like, I feel like
crap. That is so true.
And then you don't do it.
People always say, I'll start tomorrow.
Yeah. And they sign up for the gym on the first and then go, right, well, I've signed up. That's half the battle.
Yeah.
I'll wait a few days actually. Because, so-and-so, it's New Year, innit? So, I got
sometimes maybe for stuff like that, people think they should be doing something. So like, for example, the gym, people think, I should probably go to the gym, but then they don't actually want to go. So then they don't go. It's like, you'll always do what you want or what you value. And to some people, like for me and you, obviously we go to the gym pretty much every day, or at least we do some kind of fitness every day.
Yeah, running or whatever.
And for other people, they think they should, but they don't actually value that, so they probably won't end up doing it. They'll just say, I should go to the gym.
Mm-hmm. Why do you go to the gym?
Well, I guess it's become like a proper habit now. like a good habit. So if I don't go to the gym, I feel like shit because I didn't go.
Yeah.
But I think I really value like health now. So like I value nutrition, like diet and exercise. But when I first started, I just wanted to look good. So like I wanted to go on holiday, take my top off and look good.
That's why everyone starts, isn't it?
That's why everyone starts. And then people think that's why you know, like you still do it now, when actually that's probably the last of your concerns. Because when we go to the gym, no one's looking good because you're on the floor, like nearly being sick, you know,
and
you've worked that hard.
You're pasty white and covered in sweat.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I think sometimes it maybe depends on the type of gym you go to. Because everyone, the gym we go to, they don't really give a shit what you look like. No one, oh, look at, oh, nice one with them 4 abs. Well done, like,
yeah. No one says
it's
anything
more
like
like,
that.
oh, well done for lifting like 100 kilos or something.
Yeah.
It's like,
it's all about the wins, like the actual physical wins rather than the appearance. But if you go to like a commercial gym, like, whatever gym, like just a generic gym, and everyone's stood in front of the mirrors, like the pumping.
Yeah, mirrors play a big role. I mean, how many mirrors are at the gym we go to?
Yeah, it's only in that little room.
Yeah,
and no one ever really goes in there anyway.
It's like a warm up room.
Yeah.
So no one really like. Not to say no one cares about that room, but like no one is in there like bicep pumping.
Yeah,
looking at themselves, because when in the real gym, it's more. I mean, to be fair, I look at it more of a competition. Like, if you're lifting 100, I want to do 105.
Yeah, that's
I'm
why.
Not thinking like, oh, you're fatter than me or you're thinner. Like,
yeah,
I don't care.
Yeah, it's a completely different value system. I don't know like all CrossFit gyms, but at the CrossFit gyms I've been to, it's like you totally just value your work ethic in that room. Whereas when you go to a commercial gym, it's all about your appearance. And actually, like, guys will say like, oh, you're looking good or whatever at a commercial gym, or like, whoa, you're looking massive. Not to me, but I hear people say it. But then at our CrossFit gym or other CrossFit gyms, it's all just about like how hard you worked.
Yeah, but also it's like people have a weird perception that because he's got loads of muscles. I mean, like take Hyrox for example. Like I've done a few. You've done a few. I've lined up at the start thinking, I've trained hard. I don't care what I look like, but I've done all right. Yeah, I feel good. And then you look around and you think, like he's just belly fat.
Yeah.
And then he's racing past
and
you.
He's
because
absolutely
you judge people
bombing
straight
it,
away, and then you look at like the really muscly guy, and I've ran past plenty of them.
Yeah,
and they've just blown up.
So true.
And like muscles or body or whatever, it doesn't really mean anything. But us as humans, we do it with everyone. You instantly judge people. Like you're covered in tattoos. You've got scars all over your face.
Yeah, your muscle.
He's a thug.
Yeah.
And actually, he could have had a really shit life.
Yeah.
He could have been abused.
Yeah.
He's punished himself by getting tattoos, or like he's been in a prison in a bar fight.
Yeah. Or like
he's not a bad guy.
Yeah. Or he's like the soundest guy and he just loves tattoos.
Yeah.
And maybe he just loves art as well. And he's like, like I've got so many mates who are covered in tattoos and they're just like sound lads, really nice. And they got one tattoo and then they got another one and they just kept going.
I mean, to be fair, that's how, I started when I was like 19 or 18, 19 when I first started. I told my mum I was only going to get like a little one on my shoulder, maybe about this big.
Yeah.
And I went in, the tattooist was like, oh, it wouldn't look good like that. So he blew up from my shoulder to my arm.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. You get like, I'm not as addictive anymore, but it spreads.
Yeah, because your back's covered.
Yeah, like back, front, all that lot. But I like the art. I first started getting it for like, family meanings, all that lot. And it gets to a point where, I run out of family or meanings.
Yeah,
I just like stuff.
Yeah.
But whenever we go on holiday, every single time we'll walk down to the pool, we walk down, obviously you can see like tattoos on my arm and stuff. I take my top off and it's like maybe parents, older generation just go like.
Yeah, like you can see they're looking at you.
You know what?
Like
every time you took your top off in your bikini or shorts, and then you were like fatter, and I was like tapping like, oh, look at that over there.
Yeah, it's such a generational thing.
Kick off.
So when I got a tattoo, I've got a few, but when I got my first tattoo, I did not tell my grandparents because I knew my grandparents would be like, that is awful. Why have you done that?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I've got this forever now.
Yeah, ruined your body, haven't you?
I can't just wipe it off.
Yeah, well done, you've ruined your body.
Yeah.
And it's like, I struggled, I think, with my mum and dad, especially my mum, because she said, when I first got them, she said, oh, I like the art, but I wish it wasn't on you.
Yeah, I
I'm
love
like,
that.
that doesn't-
It's such a mum thing to
That
say.
doesn't make me
I wish you.
feel the best, because I've pointed tattoos out on other people before when we walk past people, and
Yeah.
not really like that either. Like, don't get
That's
them on your hands,
so-
don't get them in your neck. And I'm like, I never said I would, but
Yeah,
now I'm
that's
conscious.
such a mum thing to say. Yeah,
You know, my baby boy's hurt himself, and it's like, no, I've actually chosen to do this.
Yeah.
I knew it was going to hurt,
yeah.
but that's not why I've actually gone and got it done.
When my when I told my mum I was getting a tattoo, she was like, you know, that's just make sure it's something that, you know, you like and you're gonna like for years and years. And she was a bit apprehensive about it, but then she was just like, if you want to get it, just get it. And then so I got it, and then I've got two younger sisters, and when they one of those got a tattoo, it was a bit more like, oh, I don't think you should. And because I don't know if it was because it was a girl, it meant something different. Like my sister was,
Depends whether you get it though, doesn't it?
yeah, like a young girl getting the tattoo, and my mum was just kind of like, she was still like, yeah, go for it. But anyway, now my mum's got like 2 tattoos because she watched us get them, and then she was like, well, I want to get one now.
My mum said she would get one, but she never did. My dad had a few before I got one, which was kind of my, should I say, excuse, or like my reasoning.
Yeah.
You know, you can't really say no to me because Dad's got one.
Yeah,
so.
there you go. You found the way in there.
And you know, when I have kids and stuff, I mean, it's different for me because I don't mind them. I don't judge people probably because I've got them. So I'm not bothered if they get them. I just don't want it to get infected. I don't want it to go somewhere crap.
Yeah.
And I don't want it to be like a crap design.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, because you do see some bad ones, like,
Yeah.
and especially when you get it when you're young. So if you're like 18, you're getting your first tattoo, it could be awful because you're still like a young
Well, you're naive,
adult.
aren't you?
Yeah.
You think it's going to be good and it isn't. And
Like maybe you're into, I don't know what, maybe you're into like boxing, and then you go and get like a big red boxing glove on your arm.
looks
like
a tomato.
Yeah, and then like when you're older, you're like, God.
Yeah.
Then you go on that show where they cover it up.
Yeah, you can't, and you really can't get rid of it. Like,
Yeah.
you cover it up, but you can't. You're going to have to get something that's red.
Well, you know, on that, what's that show called where it's like they cover up tattoos, but like
I
someone
can't-
will go in with like a tattoo like that on their arm, and then they'll be like, yeah, I just want it covered up. I don't like it. And then they come out with like a full sleeve.
Yeah.
Like you've got to do that to cover it up well.
Yeah. And if it's really dark, you've only got to go really dark, and like, the better tattooists, they'll know shapes. There's only like, say, certain shapes of tattoos you can get over the top of it that match it, that they can match with the shading, and it's just a ball ache. But the one thing, probably the thing with like tattoos that people ask is, it's always like the cost. And
Yeah.
they think like, because you go into a tattoo shop and it's all on the wall, and it's like, oh, that tattooist did that design, and you think, yeah, I'm going to get that, and he says 50 quid. Then you go to a good tattooist and it's got the same design, he says 100. You're like,
Yeah.
well, I just want the ink on my body.
Yeah.
So
but you don't-
I know loads of people that I used to go to like school with, or like uni, and they got like full sleeves done in a day,
yeah.
and be like, they
But
just
they're
wanted
awful.
they just wanted ink
Yeah.
in their body.
They wanted ink. They wanted it to be cheap. And They
Yeah.
wanted it done fast.
And they'd go, what's it, what do you think of it? And I'm like, because you've had a few, you're like, well, the colouring's faded out of the
Yeah.
lines, it's peeling, it's all that lot. And they're like, oh, right. I just think, yeah, because mine's taken like, say, 3 days, and yours took like 8 hours.
Yeah, you get what you pay for.
And it's, I mean, that's the same for everything. I
Yeah,
think
like everything.
you buy cheap, you buy twice.
Like clothes, you buy, if you invest in some like nice clothes, you might spend a bit more, but the quality's good.
Yeah.
Not always. Like sometimes you pay for the brand, but
Yeah,
if you're
yeah.
paying a bit more and the quality's good, it's worth it. If you're buying stuff off like these fast fashion brands, like changing it up every week, the quality is going to be shit. So it's
I mean, what do you expect for like a £5 t-shirt when you put it in the wash and it shrinks once?
yeah, I hate
like,
that.
What
See,
do you expect?
so you could go through like 10 of them,
Yeah.
and you spent 50 quid, or you could buy a nice t-shirt for 50, 60 quid, but it lasts,
if you look after it like forever.
all my like nice stuff, like my nice clothes that I've like spent a bit of money on, like I'm so careful with washing them still, like,
Yeah, dryers for me.
yeah,
Put them in dryers.
yeah, like all my clothes that I've spent a bit of money on, I just make sure like I don't wash them like high temperatures, don't put them in the dryer, so careful.
Proper adult in that.
Yeah, to be fair, I don't really do it. Beth does it all.
Yeah, but nothing past 30
I just tell her
degrees.
what not to do.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
But she'll know by now.
She knows,
like,
yeah.
what tops.
She knows because she gets out like the nice. We've got like a pile of clothes where we don't care about them, but it's my 4 of my nice t-shirts.
It's black, white, and then all the nice
literally,
stuff.
yeah,
And then
literally
it all gets
that.
put on a different wash.
Yeah,
yeah. I would do that and be like, you know, my shorts are going in the wash and say like, you know, don't put them in the dryer, and then come back in. It's like, have you put everything in? She goes, yeah. I'm like,
yeah,
open dryer, like pulling it out. She's always only been in for 5 minutes, and I'm like,
you've got like your favorite stuff, and then you've got obviously like your expensive stuff that like you spent a lot of money on, and you just want to make sure that like, you know, it's looked after, it's fine. Like all my stuff's like Cole Buxton or Represent or stuff like that. I just make sure that's not going in the wash. Like,
but you know how much obviously it costs and how much work or time or whatever you've had to like work for to earn that, and all of a sudden that 60 quid is just gone.
Yeah,
because you just didn't wash it right. Or, like you mix the colours.
It's mad how much people spend on clothes now. Like a normal like t-shirt. Like if you are into clothes and stuff like that, and you're spending money on a t-shirt, t-shirts are like 80, 90 quid now for like a nice brand. You know.
Yeah, but you can tell with the quality in the stitching and like how thick.
Yeah,
they are,
yeah,
you know? You know the old, what was that old brand that was like Fruit of Loom?
Fruit of the Loom, yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone had them, yeah.
You'd put it on and like a white one, it was see-through.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and you put it in the wash once and it's gone from an XL to a medium.
Yeah.
And all my school stuff was like that, all the sports stuff. And it was just, I don't know, you buy it and like you said, you buy it 3 or 4 times. And on the 4th time, you're like, shit, I wish I just
could have got the nice one.
I could have just bought it.
Yeah.
You know,
I know.
But it's more, I think more quantity over quality.
Do you buy clothes for quality or so that everyone knows you got nice clothes?
I don't give a shit about what people think about like clothes.
That's so good.
I wear like, you know, simple stuff like this. I mean, I everyone will say about me, I always wear like black stuff.
Yeah.
Always have done. It's just really easy.
Yeah.
I'll change up with like maybe a pair of shoes or like, I don't know, like a t-shirt, but I'm usually wear like a white or a black t-shirt, a black jacket usually. Yeah. And it's never like plastered in.
It's
logos.
Not like, got
you don't know really know what I'm wearing, because, you know, I also don't want people to know what I'm wearing because I end up buying it.
Yeah.
That annoys me, so then I don't buy it.
Yeah, that's true.
It. So
you get like the really subtle things.
I go under
like
the radar.
Non-branded.
Yeah. I mean, I remember when I first bought my most expensive like wallet at the time. I think I was like 21. It was like a Louis Vuitton wallet, but it was, you know, the old like black and grey.
Oh yeah,
yeah. That everyone had.
Yeah.
And I was like, I really want an expensive wallet that just lasts forever.
Yeah.
And I went in and I said like, what's the, you know, least branded thing you've got? And it was this, you know, it had still got the squares on it, but all the squares were like, it's all leather, just black squares.
Yeah, nice.
Like indented out, and you wouldn't even know.
Yeah.
And I didn't want anything super flashy.
You see people the opposite where they've got like the Gucci hat and the Louis Vuitton t-shirt. Like you see lads on nights out and they've got like the full on like, this is my Moncler, like in the biggest full on.
Saw someone last night out,
you know,
doing the same thing in a Moncler. It was like a Moncler looking like turtleneck, and it said Moncler all around the turtleneck.
Yeah.
And then you had a Moncler like puffer jacket on that had it round the bottom, round the top.
It's mad that, innit? I've
like,
never been into
badge.
that. I mean, people might be into that, it's fine, but for me, I look at that and I think, why have you bought that? Like,
you want people to know.
You literally look like a drug dealer.
It's status, though. That's what people do it for. It's pure status. They want you to know that they have money, even though they don't. But do you not think?
Do you not think it's funny that they think that people are going to be like, "Whoa, like you must be so rich"?
Yeah.
But really, like me and you are thinking, goon,
idiot, absolute idiot. Like, I'm not going to give you the satisfaction of asking you where it's from because I know where it's from.
Yeah,
so
everyone.
I'm going to talk
they
to
can see at the back of the room where
2,
it's from.
You look an idiot, and 3, you know, you especially used to like maybe when you were younger, go on nights out like girls or whatever. It's like we'd be like, oh, buy us a round because you've got loads of money, and you're like, oh, I haven't because I spent it all on this jacket.
Haven't, yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not.
So true.
I don't care what you own for me, if you're basically just like a nice person, and
it's
you
all
treat people right and all that lot, that's all I'm asked about. Because I think sometimes when it comes to like, I feel like we're picking on Moncler, but like stuff like that that's really expensive, like people instantly have an opinion of you. And I might have just like wanted to go and buy a Moncler jacket. And you know that I don't wear flashy stuff. But I wear a Moncler jacket and you think, oh yeah, Sam's wearing a Moncler jacket, sound. And then someone over there is already judging me because they've already seen 3 people Monclers. So and I'm already in that group. And then before you know it, I am, the goon. In the Moncler group.
Moncler's not going to sponsor this podcast ever now.
No.
We've absolutely
I'm not arsed. I don't really go skiing. I don't really care.
It's a skiing brand anyway. Why are you wearing it in the club?
It's like this Dickies stuff, like, I always get slagged because people say, oh, do you know it's from B&Q and stuff? And I'm like, yeah, like B&Q. Like,
it's quality.
But it goes back to, like, it's thick.
If
people in B&Q can wear it, like lifting timber and all that
it's built for purpose.
It doesn't break. Like, same with Carhartt stuff, it's work in progress stuff.
See, stuff like that, like, I love them brands where it's just simple, like Dickies, Carhartt, like, stuff where it's just like this is a Cole Buxton jacket and it's just like plain. Like there's no brand. No. You've not plastered it everywhere. It's just like, it is just a nice simple piece of clothing.
Some of its stuff though, their stuff's like the big CB, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Tracksuits.
And that's for the people who want everyone to know. You can tell when someone they've bought it to tell everyone, I've got this. Whereas the stuff like you wear a lot of Represent, and I can just see, because I know the clothes, or like I can see the tiny little logo.
But
like no one would know.
Colour. Yeah. So I mean, to speak about like Represent with that, the stuff that like the Represent Owners Club, that it's all plastered on the back of the hoodie and stuff like that. Like, I feel like everyone buys that, and I'm just like, you can see it from a mile off. But the other stuff, like jackets,
I stay away from that stuff.
I think sometimes for me, it's like, obviously you do High Rocks and let's say George goes and stuff, and then he's like, oh, everyone's wearing Represent. But I think, like, not that I'm after like anyone's respect from Represent, but I think if you were to walk past him, he would know that you're wearing, say, the blacked out stuff, and you're like, he's probably looking at like, that's the proper OG over there. He's not. George doesn't do it. George doesn't wear all the stuff.
He actually wears just like the plainest stuff. Like, it's all his stuff, but it's just plain.
You wouldn't
the
know.
Blanks,
Yeah, you wouldn't.
Do you know what's interesting about that though? Is that that's smart, because he's basically, or the brand have figured out that there's people who want everyone to know they're wearing Represent. There's people who don't want anyone to know what they're wearing because they just like wearing plain stuff, and they've catered to both. So like, you see the Owners Club stuff everywhere. The 247 stuff's it's not in your face, but it's quite brandy, isn't it?
Yeah, Team 247 in white across on mainly dark stuff.
Yeah, but I still look at that and I'm like, that's cool because of what the brand, I was going to say what the brand represents. Like the 247 stuff represents that you're into fitness, you care about it, you're committed to the mission. Whereas the other lifestyle stuff's just like plain. But like, I don't really have, I think I've only got like 2 pieces of Represent, and it's just like plain black cargos.
Yeah, I've got the black cargos, Just for that, honestly, my wardrobe is, you can tell which side of the wardrobe I've got, because mine's just like black, white, and then I've just got jackets.
Yeah.
And that's, I've got like a bad obsession with like jackets. I can't help buying jackets, puffer jackets, whatever. But it's something I just like, I keep. It's like a staple point that I just use. And I can, change it up with the tops underneath and stuff like that. But
it's nice that you know your style, because a lot of the time people still figuring out, like, people will be like a grown man, like they're in the 40s and they're still figuring out their style. Whereas when like, say for you, and you'll be very similar to me, like, you just like plain clothes, comfy, warm, fitted, just like, if you know that, shopping's so easy. Like, I never need to go shopping.
Yeah, I don't go in an actual shop. Gives me a headache.
Yeah.
I actually can't do it. Like, it does my head in. I do everything online, but I know what brands I'm going to, like what websites I'm going to. I go in, buy it, I'm out.
Yeah. Like I know if I need a new coat, I know where to go and get my coat. Because, like if I need a new pair of trousers for work, like, I just know where I'm going. I don't really go shopping where I'm just like browsing and looking for hours.
You buy crap. Like, I've I mean, I've always wore black Calvins.
Yeah,
underwear.
me too. Yeah,
Never changed.
Yeah.
Literally, all my underwear,
yeah.
black Calvins.
Yeah.
Nothing different. I know exactly what I'm getting.
Have you seen the thing? Have you heard the thing where it's like you're as soon as you have like too many decisions, you can't make a decision. So like Steve Jobs or people like that just have like the same black t-shirt.
Zuckerberg,
Yeah.
Elon Musk.
And they've got the most money in the world. They just wear like the same thing.
If it goes back to like time and stuff like that, I mean, probably like girls are more, they fall down with this more than like men. But like, you know, they go on a night out, open the wardrobe. I don't know what I'm going to wear. And they've got like thousands of pounds worth of clothes. They pull them all out. No, not that.
I've got
not
nothing
that,
to wear.
Not that,
say,
not that, not wear. Yeah. All the time. Right, I'm going to go buy something different. And then they buy like 5 pieces because they don't know what they want.
Do you know,
like,
girls buy, not all girls, but girls tend to buy an outfit for an event to wear once and then they can't wear it again because they've already worn it.
And
I wear like the same t-shirt, like, or the same brand of t-shirt, like every single day pretty much. Like I'll wear a t-shirt and then like my next t-shirt's another black t-shirt and then the t-shirt the next day is another black t-shirt. Like,
yeah, but no one's bothered.
No one's asked, but yeah, maybe.
I think that's probably one of the downfalls of social media. I think it's like people are impressing people on social media they don't even know. Like girls,
yeah, that's true.
They won't wear something that they've already uploaded on a picture.
Yeah,
because what about if like this lad or this girl goes through my Instagram and goes like 2 weeks back and they're like, oh my God.
Like anyone would care.
Like she's wore that purple dress 2 weeks ago and she's telling and bitching to all of her friends. And it's like.
But people always think they're more important than they are. And it's not like a rude thing or slating people. It's like, in my world, I am the main guy. But like in your world, you're the main guy. So like, if I think too much about what other people think, like, there's no point because they are not thinking about you. They're thinking about themselves.
But you've got like, say for example, like the world's most famous footballer, say Ronaldo. Maybe not Ronaldo because everyone knows him, but like, I don't know, like whatever football. Let's say a Liverpool fan, Steven Gerrard, right? Yeah. Steven Gerrard, legend in Liverpool, legend in football. He could walk through, maybe not Manchester because he'll get abused, but like say Glasgow.
Yeah.
And there's a rugby day on.
No one's asked.
No one's asked.
So true.
No one knows him. And the people that are rugby fans, you as a football fan, go, oh my God, that's Steven Gerrard. And they go, all right, yeah, I know him from telly, he's a footballer, yeah. And it's like, no one's bothered, but like, in your head, if that was you, you're like, say, the biggest podcaster in the world. Yeah. If no one listens to a podcast, you can just walk.
I tell you who's good for that? Dads, right? Because my dad, if I say like, oh, like, there's so-and-so, you know, like, or mums, if I'm like, oh, that's so-and-so from YouTube, they'll be like, all right. They're just not asked because they don't watch it and they don't care, you know, like, but if they saw someone that they knew was really famous, like a singer from the 80s, they think they're really famous and like they care. It's interesting that what seems really like popular to you, someone else just has no care given about.
No clue.
You know,
like, I mean, you probably do that with like your missus and stuff and she's like, oh my God, this is amazing. Let's add this to the house. This is amazing. You're like, I'm not really bothered because you're not like your passion or your interest. You're not really, and she's like buzzing.
That happened when we went to High Rocks, just gone. And Molly May's sister was next to us.
Zoe,
Molly May's sister.
Yeah.
And Beth was like, and I was like, how do you even know that is Molly May's sister? Like,
but you know what's weird? Like, I think, I don't know, that like, trying to describe it properly, like it helps my confidence so much in terms of like going speaking to someone because like say your missus is like, oh my God, that's Zoe, Molly May's sister. Like Beth's not going to really be like, oh, I'll go and talk to her.
Yeah.
You'd be like, because you don't have a care in the world. You're like, hi Zoe, you all right? Yeah. Just have a picture.
That's
like,
so
you're not
true.
Asked because
you become more confident if you don't know the person. You know,
and everyone. I mean, I'm with celebrities and all that lot. They could walk past me like I'm not bothered because they're also just normal people.
Yeah,
and, like,
people forget that as well.
If I was famous, I'm not going to like, ignore people and stuff like that. But I've also got a normal life.
Yeah.
I want to be able to go to the shop and maybe take a few pictures with kids or whatever and then be like, just, what are you up to today? And it's like, I need to go and get milk like everyone else does.
Yeah.
Like, I like coffee.
That's the sad thing about the more famous people get, the more people forget that they are just actually normal people. And like, did you watch the Beckham documentary?
Yeah.
That was crazy. That when he got sent off in like the World Cup or something.
Yeah, against Argentina. Yeah, kicking out.
And then people were like death threats and like,
yeah, because it's a way of life. Because that's the football world.
yeah,
Like he is the idol. He's the one for England. And
but
he's
like
gonna
they
screw it
loved
up.
him. Like they loved him, and then because of that, they hated him.
Yeah, and it just changes.
Yeah.
Like say you could, like, I mean, a big one that sticks in my mind is like Luis Figo when he transferred from like Real Madrid to Barcelona the other way around. Biggest rivals. He was a god. In Madrid.
that's true.
Barcelona to Real Madrid actually.
Yeah,
He was a god in Barca.
yeah,
And then he transferred. Everyone hated him.
yeah.
All the Real Madrid fans loved him, but 2 weeks ago they were booing him.
It's
and
mad, that,
what
innit?
that lot. But
Football's interesting because it's like a religion.
yeah, I mean, Celtic and Rangers.
It's like a religion. So you hate like religion, like you, well, not hate, but maybe in some religions you hate the other side.
Yeah.
So like
They believe in something you don't.
yeah, and in football, like you hate the opposite team. Like you'll fight them. You'll shout abuse. You'll cry if your team don't win.
But then it's interesting how, like, I think obviously we weren't alive years, decades ago, but like how different was it back then, or has it just evolved with like hooliganism as a word? That was a tough one, but
yeah,
and like it's just made it worse in football because I used to play rugby and cricket.
yeah,
And, rugby smashing into each other like elbows, knees, standing on people. You're not arsed. Final whistle blows.
yeah. You're shaking hands.
You're in the pub,
Yeah,
chatting shit,
Yeah.
and eating, and then
that's true. Rugby,
20 minutes ago, I absolutely hated you. Now I'm
yeah,
going to take your head off.
rugby is good for that. Like,
Well,
there's a lot
yeah.
of respect.
The referees, obviously it's a big topic, but like the difference between football referees and rugby referees.
Yeah,
The footballers
got-
aren't very big, intimidating referees, but in rugby, they're 6'6",
Yeah.
6'8", massive men.
and it's interesting. Like in rugby, the players just like accept that whatever the referee says is final. If you try and like oppose it or kick off, like you're getting sent off. And in football, it's like the players just like, I don't know, like maybe they don't have that same respect for the referees. I mean, the fans don't, like,
I mean, I put some of it down to money, to be fair, because the big footballers, they're on more money than most clubs.
yeah, that's true.
And they, like with wealth, people demand respect. And it's like, well, I'm on 300 grand a week. This referee, probably on about 60 grand a year.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
giving him shit.
It's authority,
What's he going to do?
power.
Oh, he's just going to send me off. All right, well, send me off then.
I
I'm
can
not
afford
bothered.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, fine me or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't care. So there's no respect. Whereas like rugby, obviously they're probably on more money. Not all of them, but
Yeah, like
the big names are.
Yeah,
but you have to go
it's
to
still
like,
not
it's-
comparable to
it's,
the pro footballer.
It's
That's
£1 million a year, probably a top rugby players on.
yeah. They don't have that same like feeling of authority that a footballer would have because the footballers have just got so much power.
Yeah,
They
do whatever
they're
they want.
so famous.
Yeah.
I
I think obviously because football's probably the biggest sport in the country, if not probably the world.
Yeah,
like cricket and-
world.
But
Massively.
It's they control the whole thing. Without them, there's no sponsorship, which means there's no money for clubs.
Yeah, it's crazy how much like you can't actually comprehend how much footballers get paid.
Yeah.
When you look at the figures and you're like, so you're earning that. Like, have you ever seen the figures of like the top footballers, for them to drop like a tenner on the floor
Not yet.
and pick it up, like they've already made like 100 more tenors by the time they've picked it up.
It's ridiculous. I mean, obviously like Man City or like probably, Mbappe at PSG and stuff like that. He's on $1 million a week.
It's
Like-
mad.
And
You just
he's on
can't-
that since he's like 19, 20.
Yeah.
I think that what does that teach you as a person?
Yeah.
Like now you're world famous. You're
Mm.
also on that more money than literally most of the world.
What can you do with $1 million a week? Like, you'd struggle really to.
I mean, I've probably thought this sometimes and thought, you could buy a plane, you could buy a yacht, but then would you
What-
buy another plane?
Yeah,
Like,
like you could just keep buying it, and it's like,
Yeah.
I mean, $1 million is like crazy to think about. Like we think about, we've just bought a house, and like the house is like so expensive, but like someone's earning $1 million a week. You know, like they could buy my house, like
they could
5 of my house every single week.
Yeah, and not even care. They could buy your house, knock it down, build another one, and 2 months later buy it, another one, and knock it down, and still have less.
See, the thing
more
is,
money left.
When there's such a big, like, perspective of someone's earning $1 million a week playing football. Fair enough, like they're working hard on that, and obviously it's strict regime and stuff. $1 million a week. Someone over here in like some other undeveloped country has no money, no electricity, no water, no food. But it's mad, that, isn't it?
I mean, yeah, it's the class money talks, and people want to watch football. And it's sad to say, but like people want to watch football, and something that's happening, say like Africa or whatever, you can't see it.
You can't see it.
You can easily forget about it.
But
them footballers, I mean, it's not their fault in a way.
No, it's
probably
not their fault.
Now is because they're probably so demanding for money, but they, there's sponsorship that are willing to pay that.
Yeah. And like you play football, right? So if you went like, obviously if you were younger and then you were really good at football and then a club took you on and the next minute like United wanted you and then you went there, you're on this money a week, you'd be absolutely buzzing, but it'd very quickly just become normal life.
Yeah. And you're not going to turn it down, are you?
No. So like, it's like anything. At first, it's like when you get a new car, it's like amazing, isn't it? And you love it and you like clean it every day and like you're driving around, you're like, whoa, this is so nice. And then like maybe a few months later, you're like, you still love the car, but the novelty wears off.
Yeah.
Like anything.
It's, the hormone release when you buy something. There's people that are addicted to just buying stuff off the internet, waiting for it to get delivered and then go,
yeah.
Send it
it's
back.
More like they like the thrill of just purchasing it.
Like I used to do it with my iPhone, like buying a new iPhone.
Yeah.
It'd get released on a keynote and then I'd buy it and be like, oh my God, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Pre-order. It'd come. I'd be like, that's exactly the same as my last one.
Do you think the thought is always better than the actual thing?
I think so. Because
we hype ourselves up.
Like what is the difference between 20 megapixel and 24 megapixels? Really? Apart from
a few hundred quid.
It's a few hundred quid and it's like excitement. You get there, it's maybe a new release colour. It's like a millimetre thinner.
Yeah.
And then I'm just like, what a waste of money.
Yeah.
And now I'm tied in for 3 years.
Yeah, they've got
65 quid.
The thing is, like companies like Apple, they've done such a good job of creating like a loyal customer where it's like a cult. Like if you don't have the new iPhone or a relatively new iPhone, like you're getting left behind because we're going to bring out all these new features. And even like you said, it's 24, megapixels. It's not that much different, but eventually over like, let's say the next 3 iPhones that drop, if you still got the old one, like you're going to get left behind because now when everyone's posting on Instagram with the nice high definition cameras, you've still got your iPhone 3GS,
Classic. It's all like
OG, that one, it.
The curved back. But but I think that's the same with everything though. Like, you buy a clapped out car because you bought it, say, because you just bought a house, you're cutting your costs and stuff. So I bought a car because it gets me from A to B. And you turn up outside and someone drives past in a Lambo and looks at you and goes, oh, got no money. Oh, it's like, like you said before, it's all about status.
Yeah.
And people judge you.
Yeah.
He could have a Lambo.
Yeah.
Have no house.
Yeah, exactly.
Live with his mum and dad's.
Some people do live like that.
But it's priorities. Like you maybe want a house because then you want to move in with someone, you want a family and all that. And you're not interested in like the flashy car or the flashy phone.
What you deem as like...
Because really, if I had an iPhone that I still got on social media, I could still call, I could still text people, why do I need the best phone?
Yeah, you don't. And actually the people, not just about iPhones, but the people with less are actually statistically happier because they've got less to worry about and they don't care. Like if you don't care about what people think, you're going to be way happier. But we buy the new stuff because maybe it makes us happy, but it makes us also happy knowing that they're going to see me with that, you know?
Yeah, and it goes back to like the status, obviously wearing all the nice clothes, and you'll see people are going on holiday to like the airport. That's one for me, when people get doled up to the airport, or you'll see lads in like full Gucci tracksuits who've just bought it just to go on holiday. And I think you've bought it to then sit in a shitty airport, sit on a shitty chair that probably someone's like sweated on, to then just look good for Instagram, to then arrive in Bali.
Yeah.
And no disrespect to Bali or Gucci, but how much money have you just spent to just post a picture and then I'll get 1,000 likes on that?
Yeah.
You've got no money for
that. And again,
that.
you get that dopamine hit, and then it's gone because now you want the next hit.
But then you're selling your Gucci tracksuit to afford a Prada one to maybe go on your next holiday to get another dopamine hit.
I see it all the time on Facebook now, like lads selling like the coats, like the Stone Island coats that they bought. Like, anyone want to buy this Stone Island coat medium? 450 quid, bought it for 800. Like, why have you bought the coat for 800 to start with?
Depreciating asset straight away as soon as you wear it, unless it's like rare and you're reselling. It's just money, just burns.
It's like a time paradox where people think in the future about looking back. So people are going to be like, I'm going to buy that coat because people are going to look at me and be like, whoa, he bought that coat, so it means he's got loads of money.
Yeah, or he's successful or whatever. And it's just like people's, I don't know.
And that thought process happens in like, you don't even think about it. So like, no one's going into Stone Island buying the coat because they think people are going to think they're cool. They just look at it and go, whoa, that is cool. But actually what's going on probably is that their mind saying, that's going to be cool when people look at you in that, you know.
But these brands know that.
Yeah, they do know that.
They release limited quantities, make it more exclusive.
Yeah.
So basically the real winner is the brands, because one, they get to sell all their stuff because people want it. And it's like, classic with like Yeezys and stuff, like, oh my God, he's wearing a real pair of Yeezys. Wow, you can never get hold of them.
Yeah.
Like, are they fake? Are they real?
Yeah. That's another topic, because so many things like that, where there's limited edition, and then you see someone in them, you're like, they're probably fake. But like, they might not be, and they've just spent like loads of money, and they queued up for hours.
It's probably fake.
But you look at it, you're like, well, it's probably fake. And like, actually, no one cares.
Yeah. And it's weird, like, I think when you grow up, or like mature or whatever, at whatever age that's at, now I don't give two shits if you're wearing a pair of Yeezys.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're wearing the most exclusive stuff. Cool.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not bothered.
Yeah.
Like, you're wearing like a 1 of 10 watch.
So what?
Right. I've got a Casio one.
And it still tells the time. Yeah.
What is the time? Like, you know.
Yeah.
But I don't.
Do you think that a lot of what we do nowadays, like not us, but in general, like the human race, right? Do you think that a lot of what we do is based on how we look to other people, or like, let's say Instagram?
Yeah, social media's done that. So I mean, I don't know off the top of my head, but people, but like, you meet them, and then you're like, you look nothing like
what true.
I thought you were going to look like on social media. I've never met you before, but like just a normal guy.
So true.
Like,
people have a perception. Yeah, people have a perception, and sometimes it's like, you look better than what you look like online, and sometimes it's like, whoa, you look completely different, like you're a catfish.
Yeah.
But then also like, people do things for Instagram now, like, and I do it sometimes. I'll go for a run, like let's say I've run 15k, I'm buzzing, so I'll post it on my story. And I always think, like, I was speaking to my friend about it the other day, and he was saying that he detoxed from social media. He's gone back on it after like months, and he's basically seen everyone living an influencer life, but they're just his normal friends from school or whatever. And he was like, someone was giving like nutrition advice on the story. Someone was running, like filming themselves running. And he was like, what's happened to us all? Like, we're all doing stuff for Instagram.
But it feeds Instagram, and it feeds the algorithm, which they want, and then more people do it, because most people in the world are just like sheep.
Yeah, they are.
It takes a few, like, you know, even going back to this podcast, like, me and my mates maybe have talked about doing a podcast, like you and your mates talked about doing a podcast. No one's done anything.
Mm.
And then it just takes like us two maybe. Not saying this may or may not be successful.
Yeah.
Who knows? No one knows. And then just does it. And then
Yeah.
you've broken out of that friendship group and everyone's like, I wish I did.
Yeah.
We all talked about
I
doing
should
it.
have
It just
done
takes
that,
one of
yeah.
you to have the balls to do it.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you get famous or more people know you and then
Yeah.
your mates are like, oh.
It's interesting, like, when I'm doing stuff, so say if I'm a tutoring business, if I'm like making a video, sometimes I like overthink it and I start thinking what other people are going to think when I've posted that, because why should I be like pretending I'm an expert? But really I'm not. I'm just giving my opinion or my advice, you know, my perspective on things. But I start thinking, I hope people don't think, you know, and I'm already like in that mindset
But
of,
you've already changed your video.
yeah,
before you've
exactly.
even
Yeah,
filmed it.
exactly.
But then you've changed it for people that may or may not even get to view your video because they don't see your video at the same time. And then you're not putting out what you really wanted to put out.
Yeah, you're
Just
like, you
for-
overthinking
To
it.
think about, like, write a list of all them people that you think may or may not judge you. And that list is maybe like 50, 100.
Yeah,
if
yeah,
that.
yeah. If
How many
that, yeah.
people are out there that will, in the world, that will probably resonate with your
Yeah,
video?
exactly.
And you've stopped doing that video.
Yeah,
You've stopped growing your own business or whatever because of 50 people
yeah,
that probably, more than likely, like everyone in the world, don't have the balls to tell you, oh, that was shit.
yeah,
They'll go, hey, good video of that.
yeah.
And you're like, oh, cheers, yes.
Yeah,
Like, they'll never tell you,
yeah,
but you stop doing that video.
yeah.
Like, what a waste.
And
And that's your passion.
And it actually works the other way, where half the time, maybe 99% of the time, like what we've just been saying, no one actually cares anyway. So like if I'm making a video about, I don't know, what if your kid doesn't go to sleep, like this is what you should do.
Mm.
And then if I'm making a video on that, most people are just going to look at that and go, sound. Like, and then go back on to what they're normally doing with their everyday life. Whereas I'm thinking, people might think I'm like pretending I'm an expert on parenting when I'm not a parent, and like I'm overanalyzing it all.
One thing that helped me when I did my videos, right, was obviously I had that mindset of like, oh my God, I'm going to be judged and everyone's not going to like my videos. I didn't really give a shit if no one liked it or a million people liked it. But when I actually looked at the analytics, the actual watch time of the video, I had a minute video, people only watched it for 3 seconds. They've not even got to the bit where I was already conscious about what people might think.
Yeah.
So then what's the point? They're not even watching it.
Yeah.
But people will scroll and see like you've posted it, like it, next.
Yeah,
like
they do.
They don't even know what they're liking.
Yeah.
And
they don't have time anymore. People, because of TikTok, right? Not because of TikTok, but TikTok's catered for this. People just want to hit that dopamine, scroll until they've had enough. Then they shut it off for a bit, go and do something else, watch Netflix.
Yeah. But
so like,
it's boredom.
Yeah.
I'm criminal for it in terms of like, I don't know, you put like Uncle Ben's packet rice in for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
What am I going to do for 2 minutes?
Yeah.
Like,
phone out.
Right, I'll go see my phone, 2 minutes TikTok, ding.
Yeah.
Right, off that. And then I'm bad for it, like eating. I have to watch something.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. It doesn't matter.
I do that.
And I watch it and I'm like, what else? Then I'll go and do something. Then you come back. Then you know, a bad thing obviously is people getting in bed and like watching stuff. I mean, obviously that runs your mind on and you never get to sleep, but
we're just in a constant cycle of like endlessly watching stuff to get like the dopamine or whatever it is to feel good or to distract us from what's making us probably not feel good. So like a lot of people will scroll TikTok, watch YouTube, watch Netflix because maybe they don't like how they look, or maybe they don't like the relationship, or maybe they don't like the job, you know.
Procrastination.
Yeah.
Like you've got like I used to do when I first like, you know, wanted to like work for myself and that lot. I would make a list of things I had to do in that day and be like, right, that's 10 things I need to do. And I'm like, oh, I don't know which one to start. And then you sit on your phone for a bit, burn a bit of time. And then I used to get to like, say the last hour of my working day and try and like slam through it all.
Yeah.
And then rush myself and then think, why didn't I do that 4 hours ago?
Yeah.
I literally could have done all this.
Yeah. That's why people struggle with like, let's say going to the gym or starting something like this, because the thought of starting is like, we've got all this stuff to do. You've got these 10 tasks to do. But reality is, as soon as you start doing one of them, like you get on to the next one, and then before you know it, you've done it.
I was talking about this yesterday in terms of like setting the podcast up. I mean, I didn't even time how long it took us to set this up, but say like half an hour. But then you think, oh, like I want to start a podcast, but it's going to take half an hour. I've got to pay like 100 quid for all the equipment. But then we do like episode 2, and it's a little bit quicker.
Yeah.
And then a little bit quicker, and you've got it fine tuned, and the quality gets better.
Yeah.
And then how many skills have you learned along that process?
Exactly.
Like I've learned like the sound and all that lot. Never knew that like last week or 2 weeks ago.
It's actually all about the learning process. Like, it's cliche because it's like, it's all about the journey, not the destination. But it's like, doing the podcast is actually going to benefit us from learning how to do all this, like editing and setting things up and filming, and like you're actually going to enjoy the process more than, let's say, in 10 years time, right? And we're still doing a podcast, but it's like actually pretty good. Let's say we've actually enjoyed the process better than being there at that point.
Because I've also wanted to do things in life in terms of like learning all this, right? Or, you know, with your own business and stuff, like learning the accounts and like, you know, not going into great detail, but whatever it is for that time in say 5-10 years, like you said, and you're successful.
Yeah.
When you're hiring someone, you're not just like, you don't have a clue what you're on about. You've like, well, I've done that 5 years ago. Kind of know what you're on about. Yeah, I can do that. Used to do that. I remember when I used to do that.
Yeah.
And it's all education. And I think people just sometimes don't want to do that.
Yeah. And
stay in their own lane.
When you realize that, it's really like amazing, because people want to instantly be somewhere else. So like, let's say you want to be a singer, right? So you want to be famous and be a singer. But actually the process of getting to that point is the bit that matters. You know, like people want to just be at the end goal, when really the whole process is where it's at.
Do you know, if you said to me, you want to be a singer, right? And I was like really famous or knew someone who was like a famous singer, and I said, right, you want to be a singer and you want to be on a stage. You know what? Come with me. Stand on that stage, 50,000 people, and sing now.
Yeah.
Because I'll give you a dream and that's what you want to do. I guarantee you'd bottle it, you'd shit yourself, wouldn't know what to do, because you haven't learned how to.
You've not learned all the things.
Yeah, like
the education.
I mean, like I watched darts, so like I don't know if you know about like Luke Little,
yeah,
16-year-old, right?
Crazy that.
He was amazing at darts, still is amazing. But because he burst on the scene, he had no PR experience.
Yeah.
They put him in front of a camera and he was just like,
he didn't know what to say.
He didn't know what to say. He was just being like a normal 16-year-old lad and stuff. And everyone was like slating him because he's like not interviewing properly and stuff like that. But he'd just gone from wanting to be a famous darts player, champion, whatever, to then someone going, go on, there you go, you've done it.
And he
it's
did.
Like, now talk about it. And I think that'd be the same. So yes, everyone, say for this, would want to be or want to have the best podcast in the world. But if we were to get a guest on now interviewing, you know, you'd be able to talk to them, obviously, but like, you wouldn't be able to like,
you wouldn't know, like,
develop conversation.
You wouldn't have learned all that stuff you need. And it's like, you only become good at something through being really bad at it or going through hardships or whatever it may be. All those little like knockbacks, learning experiences, they all amalgamate to make you whatever you're going to be at the end, you know.
Well, it just makes you who you are, doesn't it? And I think don't know the quote exactly because it seems like you're better at quotes than I am, but like it's just like failing. And I think people are scared of failing, so they don't do it.
But that's
the only thing you need to do. And it's not failing. I can't remember who quotes it because obviously everyone just recycles quotes nowadays. But like, you have to fail to find out, you know, how to do it properly. And it's not failing unless you actually stop.
Yeah.
If we could post this YouTube, Spotify, you know, Apple, wherever, TikTok, you know, a bit of a plug, and you could say, we've only got 3 views, so. But it's like, but if those 3 people were sat in front of me now, could you talk?
Yeah, exactly.
And I'd be like, no, probably not. Yeah. We've just started.
And it's actually nice starting from the beginning. And it's actually nice, like, being bad at stuff.
Why would you instantly want 100,000? Because then it loses its credibility then. Because
if we posted this, right, and then
it'd be nice if it went viral.
Then, you know, like next week we looked at it, it was on 1 million views, we'd be like buzzing because like brilliant. But I don't know, the novelty would just wear off.
But what have you learned? Because like say say you post this, million views, then you've got like, say, news reporters, or I don't even know how it works, but like they're all contacting us and saying like, oh, want you on like ITV, want you like this.
Yeah.
And you're just, they're asking you questions. You're like, I've not learned anything. I don't even know what
we've only just learned.
Yeah. Like, no, so why did you start the podcast? It's like, well, our first video is what made us, have you not watched it? Like, what else am I going to talk about? Like, the whole reason of this podcast is to like build up different topics and stuff like that. But if I've just been chucked into it.
Yeah.
I want to. I don't want
to be on like the cliche, but you want to be on the journey and you want to enjoy every bit of it. And like, there'll probably be times where like we'll be stressed and like we can't make it and we've got to film a late night one time but when you look back on it, like you're talking about time, when you look back on it, you'll be like, do you remember when?
Exactly.
You know, and that's what it's all about.
And that's the fun bit, because you'll be sat hopefully on a beach somewhere together going, oh, we got here because remember all them late nights we used to do it, like filming a podcast at 9 p.m.
Yeah.
And everyone were like watching us and didn't know when to do it. And
but every good story or every famous person or everyone that's successful talks about, oh, well, when I started, I had nothing. And like, no one says like, oh, how did you start? Well, I posted one YouTube video, it went viral, and then that was it.
Yeah.
Like,
I've been
that's
famous
boring.
ever since.
You know?
Yeah. But I think that's sometimes what social media like tricks everyone into thinking, because it's the classic, like, no one sees the grind. Like, all of a sudden we blow up and everyone's like, hey, watch that podcast, you know, it's unbelievable what they talk about. And you're all of a sudden famous, and then it's like, look at it and it's like, well, they've done 300 episodes.
Yeah.
Like, no one watched you.
Yeah.
Now everyone watches you.
I love on YouTube going to the oldest video of like the people and seeing it and being like, whoa, this was proper shit. But like,
but it's not proper shit.
It's not proper shit. No, it's just like, compared to now, like, you've done amazing.
But it's, I mean, we might look back on this and go, God, this was proper shit. Like, you know, however we're filming it now, but then it moves to like a production, or it's like a
you
better
just progress.
set, like better cameras, better, you know, audio.
Yeah.
But if you'd have bought it all at the start, how much pressure would have been on you? We bought like 3 cameras, the best mics, the best chairs. Yeah. I'd be sat at home going, you know what, we have to film this podcast tonight because we're like £1,000 in here.
Yeah.
And we could have like done it for like 100 quid on mics, but you're already like pressured and then you'd be looking at the views going, hey, you're texting me like, oh, we've only got like 10 views. And I'm like, oh my God, we've spent like 10 grand.
And do you know what a lot of people do, right? They start doing something, not necessarily like a podcast or YouTube, but like they start doing anything like a new hobby, new job, and they give up because it's hard. When they've not even given it like time. Like, basically for us, like, we're going to have these conversations anyway. So for us filming it, but getting some mics and just chatting, it doesn't cost us it's cost us some money for this, but it's worth it because we enjoy it. Yeah. You know?
And then I don't really know how it works in terms of like YouTube and them paying you, but say you get to 1,000 subscribers and they pay you like a tenner a month and you go, right, well, we'll just save up that money and we'll buy a new mic.
Yeah, exactly.
But
it just goes back into it.
It's not money I've had to shell out and there's no pressure. But then to get to 1,000 subscribers, like I said, you've learned stuff. You know, you develop your skills. Like, you know, we'll probably look better on camera in terms of like how we both act and where we sit. Like, this might be wrong, how we're sitting. That lot. And how, like, if you'd bought all the expensive stuff, there's just so much pressure, like unwanted pressure. Yeah. Which in the end, because there's so much pressure, you'd just switch off and you'd cancel it and you'd stop.
And that's why people give up, because they want the end result, like, without putting on all the work. So they don't want to learn all this stuff.
No.
Or like, let's say you are starting a business and you're not making any money, so you decide, like, I'm just going to give up. But like, well, you're still not going to make any money. You've given up. Or you could have carried on for another year or 2 years or 3 years and then looked back.
Well, there's 100% chance you fail if you stop. That's just a given.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I can guarantee you it'll fail because you're not posting anything. So how is anyone going to know? Like, we live in a world where you have to put stuff online. You've got to put yourself out there. And it's not about like being brave. Like, we're not brave for doing this. Like, there's people that are dying every day in like the army and stuff. Yeah. It's not life or death.
Yeah.
But you are putting yourself out there. You are making yourself vulnerable. we post this, people can comment, you could slag off how you look, how you talk. Wouldn't wear that, wouldn't have that setup. But like, it's weird. I like the hate.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
Like,
where do you think it comes from? Like, as in,
it's more like a proving you wrong. Like,
do you think people don't want people to do well that
Yeah.
they know
people,
because they're afraid of?
they don't want you to be better than them.
Yeah, they're
But
afraid.
no one's better
that,
than each other, and that's like an insecurity on their part, not me.
Yeah.
And I'm not doing this to prove Joe Bloggs down the corner, that it'll work.
Yeah.
I'm just doing it for me because
People
want to
also
do it.
don't like change. So like, let's say your mates, for example, or your family, and they'll be like, well, why are you doing that? Because they don't want anything to change. They like it as it is. But actually, I love change. Like,
It's good for you.
Yeah.
Like,
people don't want like their little circle to alter in any way, especially if it means like you're doing something that's going to like progress now and make you better, because it makes them feel like insecure or not as good or not as worthy.
Because they never tried it, or they never, had the balls to do it. But it's weird on like their part, because they think obviously if this is successful, oh my God, them two are going to make money. They're going to quit the jobs. They're going to like make more money. You're going to leave your mates behind.
Jealousy element.
But then it's just like, it may sound a bit harsh, but that's kind of how I am. It's like, if you think I'm going to do that because I've got money, you don't know me.
Yeah.
Because
it's actually the opposite. It's like,
I will bring you
I'll
along.
take you with me.
Like, say we got invited to like Chris Williamson's podcast. It was just like us two and stuff.
Yeah.
And he says, oh yeah, bring your pals. And we're not going to sit there and go,
I'm-
you know what?
I
I'm
know
going to
I'm-
leave my missus at home because can't be arsed.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to invite her. You're going to bring her
Yeah.
along. You want everyone to experience it.
Yeah.
And, if you're successful and you make money, you want to enjoy it with people, because it's very lonely. We're both millionaires. What are we going to do?
That's the thing. And that's why the journey's so important, the process. Because if you focus on, like, say you want to be a millionaire, yeah, but you don't appreciate all the journey that you've spent to get there, that's when you end up with millionaires who are absolutely fucked, because they're like lonely, depressed, they've got everything they ever wanted, and they're still not happy, because along the way they've forgot about family, they forgot about friends, they focused on like, I'm going to be a millionaire, but they've not enjoyed like the actual process of getting there and appreciated, all the hard work you put in, all the fuck ups, all the mess ups, like that all makes you who you are.
I weirdly like the fuck ups, that goes for like fitness and everything.
You learn from it.
You learn, and you think, right, well, if I do that again, I'll definitely fuck it up.
Yeah.
So I'll change it. Maybe I'll do something else a different way, and I'll fuck it up.
Yeah.
But I've done 10 different ways and they've all fucked up. Right, let's try oh, that works actually. Right, let's just do that then. But it's just trial and error.
Yeah.
And people don't want to, that's where people get turned off in terms of, right, I've done 3 things and it's fucked up. We'll just stop now because I'm embarrassed, or I don't like it. Or
whereas like when I was a teacher, I like would try and tell kids that like, when you get it wrong, that's really good, because you're going to learn how to do it right now.
You found one way that doesn't work.
Yeah.
And just flip it around.
Yeah.
Like there's 100, I'm a teacher, and obviously that's quite easy, but like, you're going to do this and there's 100 different ways it might, like a Rubik's Cube, like.
There's 100 ways to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it might take you 40 tries to do it, or your friend might do 60.
Yeah.
But once you've done it 100, there will be one way, and one of you is going to do it quicker than the other one, but you've all got to the same thing.
Yeah.
And that's the same for like everything. You just got to like fuck it up to find out.
Yeah, literally.
The best ways
to
do it.
That is life.
And then learn from it, and then go, right, that's one. I've done that right. And then next task, and just get through it. But people just get turned off.
People get really turned off by the mistakes, and they get shut down by it. So like, they start something, they mess it up, then they never do it again because they think they're not good at it. It's like when people say, I'm terrible at that. Like, all right, you might not be the best at it, but you're probably not terrible. You probably tried it once. You're not that good, so you gave up.
Yeah. Like, I love playing pool and stuff. And I'm not saying I'm a massive professional pool player, but I'm all right, and I'll play against people. and you beat him, and they'll be like, "Oh, I'm not playing you again." And I'm like, "But the only reason I'm better than you is because I wanted to get beaten by good people."
Yeah.
And I'd finish a game and be like, "How did you do that?" And they'd be like, "Oh, you just do this, or you do that. You've got to think like, where you're going to hit the ball, or like, how many plays you're going to do and stuff like that." And it's like, all right. And then you teach them, and then you get the knack of it.
Yeah.
And then they want to play.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, yeah, now you,
because
you won a few games.
When
now.
you learn, when you actually learn, that learning is like cool, or it's going to help you.
I think it's a classic when like the penny drops.
Yeah.
And you think like, shit, it's actually not that bad. It's actually quite easy to do. And then you get like weirdly addicted to it.
Yeah.
Like I'll lose pool. I'll be like, I'll play you again.
Yeah, you want to keep going.
I'm going to play you.
That's
until I beat you. Then I'm going to play you again.
Such a nice, sweet spot to be in, because you can't easily get there either. Like sometimes it's really frustrating. Like I've learning to play golf, right? And sometimes like I play golf, like, or I go to the driving range, and I just get so frustrated, and I just want to leave, go home, don't play it again. But because I know that by going there every few days or whatever, I'm practicing, I'm gonna get better. And then when I do get better, like now I'm a little bit better, I enjoy it more. But I only enjoy it more because I knew that I had to go and practice, and I knew I was going to hate it a bit, but it was going to pay off eventually. But I could have given up.
You'll get better at to the point that whatever you were learning in that time, and then you can go a next time and say you practice like chipping, and you could be shit at it, and then you're like, oh, we're going round this again.
Yeah,
now
but you're in that chipping
cycle.
Yeah,
then you've got better at chipping, then putting, and then you've developed enough skills to like get yourself around the golf course, and not lose balls. And then it's how you progress that. You see, you built that like foundation, that groundwork, all that lot. And it's like, how do I then build on that? You're not going to be a professional golfer. But the thing is, I say you're not going to be a professional golfer. I play golf, but I'm not professional. What do I know?
Yeah,
like,
I might be.
Your late 20s, you might never be a pro footballer.
Yeah.
Who said?
Who said? Yeah.
Who
is this that said it? Yeah.
Because statistically, everyone is like a pro footballer, really young on. So what?
Yeah.
Like, this might be, people might say that this might be the worst podcast in the world.
Yeah.
But who
are you? It's like, again, people don't like change. So people say, oh, you can't do that. Like no one's ever done that.
No.
Or what are the chances that you're going to do well at that? Like statistically, it's not going to pay off.
Nothing's impossible. I strongly believe that, like, nothing's impossible. I just think like nobody has found a way for that to be possible.
Yeah.
Like rockets in space.
Yeah, look at Elon Musk, like the stuff he's doing with SpaceX.
That was impossible to do until he did it, and then been like, shit, that is possible. And then Elon Musk has pushed that level again.
Like Elon Musk has made a rocket that goes to space and comes back and lands.
Yeah, like a big boomerang.
That is absolutely... Yeah. And if you'd have said that 10 years ago, 20 years ago, people would have been like, don't be ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the same with like phones. There's no way this big chunky screen of a computer and this massive system here can be condensed into anything smaller.
In your pocket. Yeah.
And then now you walk around with that phone, it's practically a computer.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Like,
you
can
do
anything.
And you can do anything.
And you can speak to anyone at any time, face to face.
Yeah. I mean, I find that mad, to be fair. Like, you can be on holiday in Thailand.
Yeah.
And I can not just call you, but like FaceTime
and see you. I don't know how it works.
And it's live. Like, you're not talking,
it's
and then
crazy,
it's delayed for like a minute till it gets there. And then it's like, yeah, now I'll reply.
That's crazy,
it's
that,
instant,
isn't it?
Like, literally.
And that's something, again, we take for granted. Like, we literally, that is unbelievable.
I don't know how long it takes to fly to Thailand. Like, like over 10 hours.
See, that's what I think, teleportation, like in sci-fi films, when people like zoom off and then they're over there, that is what we've got now with like VR. So you put a headset on, you can be anywhere. But we just always thought you'd have to physically go there. Actually, it's not. We've created it on a headset.
But I mean, one day there will be teleportation.
Yeah.
I don't care what anyone says. It will happen. Like, one day we probably will maybe not live on Mars or, the moon.
Yeah.
But there'll be somewhere like, Elon Musk or whoever will find a way for us to live
he's certain
Mars.
that we're probably going to go Mars. Yeah.
If I can get a rocket to the moon
Yeah.
Why can't we live on the moon?
And that's why Elon Musk and people like that are so successful, because when everyone else is saying, you can't do that, he's saying, why not? Like, they're in their own lane. Elon Musk, who else? Like Mark Zuckerberg, like they've made things that people thought was impossible.
Like Jeff Bezos.
Yeah, like people said, oh, you can't do that. Like you can't get next day delivery. Like delivery takes like 2 weeks. Yeah. Why not? Why can't we?
It's order before 9 p.m. It'll arrive before 9 a.m.
Yeah.
And I worked in Amazon over like lockdown and stuff in the.
Did you?
In the warehouse. In the warehouses, and I still could not understand that I am packing stuff in this warehouse, and it's going to get to that house before I do.
Yeah, that's crazy. That.
Like,
have you seen in like LA? I don't know if it's real or not, but they've got like drones.
Yeah, I mean, it's what you believe on social media. I've seen the drones. But that will happen as well. Yeah, there'll be robots that fly and just like drop the packages off, and the next thing, obviously, crime will be like people shooting drones down and blah blah blah. How it all develops, but that in itself.
Yeah, I read a book about technology like AI, and it was talking about exponential growth and how when we go through time as humans, it's like every year is 12 months, but technology advances. Every like 10 years is more like 30 years. So that's why like 10 years ago, iPhones were crap looking back on it.
Yeah.
And 10 years now, we're like, we can do anything we want on it.
Yeah.
It's a computer in your pocket.
But then in 10 years' time, that phone there will be so slow.
Yeah.
That I won't want to hold it.
I know.
I to like dial up into
what will a phone be like in 10 years?
Like,
it'll just be like I don't know. We probably have something in your brain.
But you know about like Apple VR at the minute, like that. You can wear it. Obviously, it's big and chunky now, but you can wear that and flick your phone into the screen inside, and then you can do everything. Like,
it'll be like you've got glasses on now. You'll just be able to like see all the stuff.
With your eyes, like my eyes are looking at you, but I'm actually
playing COD.
Yeah. Just like I'm fake like this or whatever. Yeah, but
moving your mouth.
That's obviously where like people, I think, interactions with people will slowly diminish because people will be living in.
That's the sad
world.
part. Yeah, that is this.
Like I will say, you want to come to the coffee shop? Yeah, sure. I'm just going to put my glasses on.
Yeah, see you
there.
I'm
just going to walk there. Yeah. Oh, you're there. Yeah.
That's the sad thing.
And I'll be at home having a coffee.
Yeah.
And that's where, like, I think today, nowadays, like, you can't just go up to someone and start talking to them because they're just like, oh, no, I'm all right.
Yeah.
Like, they think you're going to sell you something.
Like the Uber thing where you can say, don't talk to me.
Yeah.
That's sad, that.
Like,
human interaction, and you're literally telling your phone, tell the driver, don't talk to me.
Yeah.
Why?
But what?
Yeah, people, and it's so easy to forget, you know, like sometimes I've done it before where like maybe I'm on a train and someone gets on and you can tell they're just talking to everyone and I'm like, please don't sit next to me.
Yeah.
But then when they sit next to you and they chat to you, like, it's nice.
Yeah. It's
humanly.
And maybe you learn stuff, maybe you don't, or it's just, I don't know. Like, I think it's all about like skills, and it teaches you, like, going up to someone now and trying to speak to them. It is an art, I think, without making that person jump out of their skin. And like I said, they think you're going to sell them something, or you can't even ask people for directions because they go, sorry, and
like they're already occupied.
I'm not from this area. Can you just tell me where the nearest coffee shop is? Oh,
yeah,
just go down that road, and they just like quickly just want to usher you on.
Yeah, it's happening with things like cash, right? So I went to like a cafe yesterday and bought a coffee, and then I had a £10 note. Like, I never have cash, so I used the £10 note. The woman was like, "Oh, 1 second," and then she had to like use the card machine to like turn it off and then get my cash. Like, she didn't know what to do.
Yeah,
and it's like human interactions. The more we have our phones and technology to do stuff for us, the worse we become at normal things like having a convo.
Yeah, I mean, I went like on one of them driving experience yesterday, like driving Ferraris or whatever.
Oh yeah. Is that why you said the go-karting thing? Like,
I was buzzing. Okay. Like the car I was in yesterday was 900 brake horsepower. Like, it was ridiculous.
And is there a guy sat next to you?
Yeah,
like, but you've got free reign, like you can.
You can change the gears and stuff, but like people, don't want to. Like, they don't let you drive how you.
Yeah, you can't just put your foot down.
I wanted to razz it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but like, that the thing that I kind of remembered from yesterday, apart from the car experience, is like we had to go and pay for like the cars on the day, and literally, I walked to the desk and she was like, "Are you driving this car?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." She went, £25. She got the car machine and she just went,
Yeah, didn't even look at you.
and
Yeah.
I just tapped my phone on the top of it, and I was like, "All right." And I was like, "Where do I go?" And she went, "Yeah, just out there and right." And I was like,
Yeah.
and then out there and right on an airfield.
Yeah.
Out there and right where?
Yeah.
Like,
They don't, people don't have time anymore.
Yeah.
Like when you go anywhere, like you go to the airport, you go to the train station, you go to a shop, it's like, it's an inconvenience that you're there.
yeah. Why are you buying my products?
Yeah, like you're in the shop buying
sorry.
it. They work there.
Yeah.
So their whole job revolves around customers, and it's like,
Customer service in most places now, it's absolutely shite.
yeah.
Like, go to Tesco and say
shocking.
like, "All right, mate, where's I don't know, where's like the milk or what?" Probably an obvious one, but you're sort of, "Oh, like aisle 19.
Yeah.
Where's that? Yeah, it's just down there.
Yeah,
Like,
can you not
past
find
18.
it? Yeah.
Like, well, I know that. I can
Yeah.
count.
But do you know what? It's probably like a UK thing or an England thing as well. Some other countries like generally are quite rude, but a lot of the places are really like friendly. People really want to help you. In England, I feel like people just can't be arsed.
We're just a lazy culture, I think.
Yeah.
And it's the ones that like fight back in terms of like doing stuff for themselves that are the ones that are like the outsiders now.
Yeah, like
It's
you're
like-
the weird one
Like,
because you
it's,
care.
it's better to be lazy now.
Yeah.
And people like,
It's easier to be lazy,
Yeah,
the world we
like,
live in now.
you going running and stuff. Oh no, I'm just sitting and watching Netflix.
Mm.
All right, I'm the weirdo one. That
Yeah.
I want to get myself healthy or keep healthy or whatever.
Yeah, because everyone's into like fitness and stuff now, but for everyone that's into fitness, there's another person that's like, life's too short to be like going on a run. Like, why don't you just go pub?
Yeah.
Just go and chill.
How about I'll just go on a run for an hour, then I'll meet you at the pub,
Yeah,
and then I feel good.
yeah.
Thanks.
Again, people don't like people being not necessarily better, but they don't like change, so they don't want you to be better than them because it makes them feel.
Well, they feel worse,
Mm.
and it's just catch-22, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I've got to go now. Got places to be.
Good man. Well,
But I mean, that was a longer episode than
yeah,
first planned. But
we've talked about a lot there, but no, it was good.
yeah, we'll mash it up and
Good man.
put it all out on all social platforms,
Right. Catch you next week.
or maybe tomorrow. Depends when your week is. But yeah, film the podcast like once a week. We'll upload once a week.
Yeah.
Until we get more confident, and then upload one once a day.
Yeah, exactly. When we've got the time.
Yeah, you've committed to once a day now. You
Yeah.
never said no.
Sorted. It's
Yeah.
on camera
It's
as well
forever now.
So there you go.
Forever. Yeah.
Right.
Sweet.
Done.
Yeah. Done.